Hello, Sakot family! You get a video today! So at work, this entire week has been filled with graduation, and my team and I have been working really hard for the class of 2020 graduates to make sure that they get to go off into the world with a sense of hope and accomplishment and commemoration. And this has led me to do a lot of reflection about my own growth and maturity. I got handed back an old notebook of mine, and I was flipping through to see what was in it, and it turns out that in 2015, the year I graduated from FSU getting my master's degree, I wrote a letter to my future self. It was basically a letter filled with encouragement and motivation and dreams and hopes. And I continued to flip through the notebook, and turns out I wrote a letter to my past self to answer that letter. You should be thoroughly amused at who you now know and her craziness. But between reading the two letters, it was really interesting and really fun and gratifying note to who I am and what I've done and how life is going. I wouldn't say coincidence. I would say more godly. Godly-dence? Anyway, new word, there you go, vocabulary. So that ended up kind of leading me to see how I started out into the world and what I was thinking when I graduated from high school. And I remember that all the seniors were asked to give quotes to be published in the yearbook, and I worked really hard and I thought about it really long. And my quote, I thought was very profound and very literary and very, full of wisdom. I don't know if you can see, but I basically said twice as much as what everybody else decided to say. I'll read it to you. This was back in 2009. This is high school graduation airman. And she said, "We are not given any guarantees in life. No insurance or backup savings either, nor are we given much promise for success in the future. But that's what hopes and dreams are for. We do have the tools to build our future, though, located in the palms of our hands. No one can tell you what is to come or how it's going to be, but you have the opportunity to make of this world what you want. My advice to you is to look at your hands every now and then. Make sure they are rough, calloused, and scarred. For if they are, then at the very least, you know you've done your best." It's funny because to me it actually seems like, well, I think it's filled with teenage angst and moodiness. But at the same time, to me, those words hold a lot of who I wanted to make sure I represented. I grew up in a matriarchal family. Binks was there, present for a lot of it. But I grew up between three super strong women who taught me that I can do everything for myself, and the capabilities of what I want to build and do in life are located with my own hands and my own talent. So I guess that's why I felt like I really had to write about what you see your hands as and what you see you can do with them. Yeah. So, okay, moving on. Part of what we're doing for these graduates is we're asking the community to write a letter or to film a video or just give some kind of message of hopefulness and advice and wisdom to the class of 2020, And so I had been ruminating on that, and it just came to me this morning. Thank the Lord. So anyway, okay, here we go. Hey, class of 2020, look at you in your grad self. Brava. As the world has seen, and you now know, the road in life is unpaved. But if you put in the effort to gather resources and build it, you'll find that the results are even better than you ever imagined, and you will get to where you want to go. I pray that every one of you gets to know the fullness and richness of life, that it never ceases to be filled with awe and wonder, and that for all that you are given, you give back. A little more kindness, a little more goodness, and a little more love. Congratulations, everyone. Blessings to you and your family, and love from me to you. So I actually think I kind of scripted the same message. I capitalized life and love in this note. You know, the grads won't be able to see it, but for me it was because I emphasized, I know that to call life is Jesus, and to call love is God and godliness. And I think there's a greater sense of enjoyment and rejoicing and praising in the unknown, and the ability to discover all that your life will encounter. But I was trying to meditate and, you know, turn to scripture, and I was looking up graduation and hopefulness, you know, life. And I guess the thing that spoke most to me was I went to the devotional that we're handing out to everyone, and I came across a passage called Growing Up. It's for March 31st if you want to go check it out. The scripture part is from Ephesians 4:13, and it says, "Until we all reach unity in faith and in the knowledge of the Son of God and become mature." And then this is the commentary. Teaching our sons to drive was a hair-raising endeavor. Merging into traffic felt like Han Solo pushing the Millennium Falcon into light speed. Sudden braking seemed certain to send me through the windshield. It was terrifying, but I was delighted with their efforts. Of course, I would be disappointed if their driving was the same years later. So it is with God. He is utterly delighted with your attempts at prayer. He loves your simple prayers, and He's calling you upward to grow into the maturity you are destined for. But here's the problem. Most of us don't quite share God's fervent passion for maturity. Really. Now, if you stopped 10 people at random on their way into church next Sunday and polled them, I doubt that you would find 1 in 10 who said, "Oh, my first and greatest commitment this afternoon is to mature." Our natural investments lie in other things. Lunch, the game, our general comfort, including getting others to cooperate with our agenda. I am very guilty of that one. It is gracious and really helpful to remember we are all at different stages in our spiritual journeys, and God is absolutely committed to growing us up. Where is God trying to grow you up? Do you even know? Can you see it through the trials you are currently facing? And are you embracing the growing up process, or fighting it? Personality-wise and default-wise, like even when I came across that letter in the notebook, my first instinct is always to be, oh, you can do better. There's always room for growth. Onward, progress. That's just how my brain intrinsically pushes. But what I've learned from you all and all that's come into my life is to be more appreciative of the now and what has been done, instead of a constant drive to move and pursue. That's still important, and we always need to grow, but we also need to count the facts and take stock of all that we have, all that we've accomplished, and how that has made us who we are today, and what we can take from that to become better, more mature, wiser, and grow tomorrow. I guess for me, that's part of the growing process, and taking time to synthesize that and reflect on that is helping me to, I've learned, helps me mature much better. So I hope that you all are doing well, you're staying safe, that there's goodness and loveliness coming into your life, and that you get to use this time to think about your growing process and your maturing process. And as always, we love to hear from you. I love to hear from you. And I'd love to know your thoughts about how you're growing, or where you're struggling to grow. And just take a moment to be thankful for who you are right now, who you were yesterday, and who God will make you to be tomorrow. Love you, everyone.